There's an interesting contradiction in the Pengu token. Pudgy Penguins is going down as the rest of the altcoin market. However, it continues to be constantly one of the most viewed cryptocurrencies on all of CoinGecko. It's currently at number 3. All of that attention cannot turn into performance. Now, is this potentially an opportunity? Some people on X, formerly known as Twitter, are extremely bearish. They say that the project wrecked its community. But then there are others with hopes towards inflows from traditional finance. So what is it? Pengu tended to trade in a range. And when we look at the very long-term equilibrium price, so that's a dotted line here, then there's potential upside of another 125% from here. Hi, my name is Gerhard. I've been in the crypto space for the last 8 years. I hit my first million 3 years ago, and I did this mainly through active altcoin trading. My track record is 100% transparent, linked in the comment down below. I'm publishing my trades in real time to the premium members, and all the closed positions are available here as well. That's now public for you to check without premium. On average, I make 5% per trade without any leverage, hold a position for 27 days, and this here is over a sample size of 171 trades. Now here's the big news that everybody is worrying about. Pudgy Penguins has closed their Web3 mobile game, and now they're falling back to a simple Web2 ordinary game. Since Pudgy Penguins launched, it underperformed the rest of the altcoin market by 48%. So this is now the Pengu price divided by the others market cap. However, in the last few months, we tend to have a pretty strong support. If we are indeed trading in this current range, then Pengu could outperform the rest of the alts by a bit over 50%. It is already outperforming Bitcoin. So we've got lower highs, that's now Pengu relative to the Bitcoin price. And that's happening despite Pengu being an inflationary token. So this is a meme coin that actually has early investors and the team cashing out over time. How bad is that token inflation? How quick does demand have to grow in order to balance out that supply expansion? The answer is in this table over here. We currently have 70% of the supply circulating. 1 year from now, this will grow to 80% or a relative supply growth of 13%. Now 13% supply growth is quite a bit, especially when we compare this to Bitcoin. Bitcoin has an inflation rate of only 0.8%. So Pengu has to grow its investor base faster than Bitcoin. And that's in general a problem with the altcoin market. Most altcoins see token unlocks over time. And when we look at the entirety of the altcoin market, every week we see hundreds of millions of new tokens that can turn into potential selling pressure. It tends to be above 500 million every single week. And it's really fundamentally the reason why most altcoins tend to go down over time. It's just the early investors, the VCs, the insiders, they get those tokens and they sell once they can. For Pudgy Penguins, the token supply expansion was not necessarily the reason why the price went down. We peaked quite consistently at $2.5 billion. We bottomed at 200 to 300 million. Currently, we are at 400 million. So the market cap chart looks very similar to the price chart because so far we haven't seen that much token inflation. We just started to expand with the token supply at the end of last year. Still, fundamentally, pricing in crypto very much is aligned with the attention on an asset, especially for meme coins. The more people get into an asset, the higher the price can go. When attention goes down, that's very problematic, especially for assets that don't have recurring revenue. The social metrics matter, and they do matter for Pengu as well. What we see here in the background, that's the number of social engagements over time. Here's the number of creators discussing Pudgy Penguins over time. And here is the public sentiment. It tends to turn more bearish over time. And that's a good reason for that bearishness. Even on the Pengu website directly, we see how the number of holders is not going up anymore. It peaked in March of last year. Since then, is rather flat. Short term, it's all about leverage. How many people are currently betting on the Pudgy Penguin's price? And on the spot market, we only had 8 million worth of trading volume in the last 24 hours. On the perpetual futures market, we had more. We had 27 million. So really, the price discovery happens on the perpetual futures. The longs and shorts are relatively balanced. There's the same number of people betting on a rising and on a falling price. The open interest is very low. And have a look at how much open interest and price correlates. As in, when many people bet on the Pengu price, when short-term leverage enters the asset, then the price goes up. When that leverage then moves to the next asset, then open interest goes down and the price follows. Currently, we are rather low on open interest, which would be a potential opportunity. We have seen many long liquidations recently, and very often the market goes the way of most pain. As in, the market makers want to liquidate both sides. And so if now the shorts are next, the price should rather shoot up. Now, as usual, I've run a backtest, a simulation of buying and selling the Pengu token to try to figure out how can we best time this asset. So this is not a long-term hold, right? We want to actively trade this. Instead of just looking at the news and at the situation day after day, I think it's better to try to figure out what are the trading rules. What kind of trading rules historically worked well for Pengu? And I very much like the approach of golden crosses and death crosses. So crosses of two moving averages. When the shorter term moving average crosses the longer term, that's a golden cross. When the shorter term crosses below the longer term, that's a death cross. So that's a bullish signal, that's a bearish signal. We need to know though, what are historically the best moving averages, or rather the best moving average combination for Pudgy Penguins. And so that's what Bitcoin Strategy Analytics is for, the backtesting platform of this channel. This is a combination chart of slow moving averages versus fast moving averages. Historically, the best combination was the 14 plus 15 day SMA. And so here is the result over time. At the bottom, we've got the Pudgy Penguins price. At the top, we've got the portfolio value measured in US dollars. At the bottom, we've got the portfolio value measured in Pengu tokens. So where are we with that signal right now? Here is the backtest. Currently, the shorter term moving average is below the longer term. So the momentum has not yet turned around. We saw a golden cross here, for example. And then we saw the death cross here. So while the situation with very low leverage in the token and a stabilization versus the rest of the altcoin market with even slight outperformance versus Bitcoin is very inviting, it's probably best to hold back just a little bit longer until we have stabilized at the current level or potentially gone up a bit, and then we get our golden cross again. That's how I personally trade the market. I have traded Pengu several times as well. Not every trade is a moneymaker, but in the end, the average matters. And that's why the long-term chart looks the way it does. So feel free to check it out. The link is down below. There is a 7-day money back guarantee. So in case you don't like premium, just message me over here. You will get your money back within the first 7 days. You get all my trades in real time. If you're signing up for the yearly membership, you even get access to the automated copy trading. Then you don't even have to execute the trades yourself. If it's your first time here, feel free to subscribe. I publish here regularly. A like would be very much appreciated as well. Helps the channel grow. See you next time here on YouTube or see you on Premium. Link to that pops up here on the screen. See you next time. Cheers.